the how dare you? Why do you make up? She didn't say how dare you. They said you said
that
she was
was
unqualified.
I think the implied tone to keep bringing it up after weeks of him.
I didn't read into it in any way that way. I would ask that question
The entire purpose
first.
of it was you are now going to apologize for even daring to say that she might be unqualified. When she's been saying for, what, 4 months, everything he says is a crazy fantasy and he'll get nothing done. How is that not on the same level?
It's not.
He's lying
it's
to
not
you.
nearly on the same level. And he has said for John, come on, and he has said for 4 months that she's a totally corrupted candidate who isn't fit to do the job because she's been
I think
corrupt.
that those are on a very same level.
Right, and then but going around and saying out loud, look, I don't think it matters that he said she's unqualified. I don't think it matters that her surrogate said that he wasn't qualified. But that said, he did say it, and as soon as you say it in New York, you're a buffoon who's never spent a moment in front of a camera.
It's not a buffoon.
No. If you don't think that's going to come up from reporters, that's just foolish and ignorant. And so, yeah, he got asked of the one thing. And by the way, you know what it did? It gave Bernie Sanders an opportunity to give exactly the kind of answer that he should have given about why she's unqualified. He won that point. He won that moment in the debate.
Okay, good. So, and it demonstrates why I think that that's a stupid question. Like to say, oh, is she qualified? And any answer has to be simply, oh, has she held administrative positions in the past? That is not the only thing that qualifies you for a position that important. I've been watching House of Cards. Frank Underwood has been in government. He's also a murderer. He's not qualified to be president. It doesn't matter that he's been a senator or a whip or whatever. There's other shit you can do.
He's a fictional
I understand
character.
that. What I'm saying is you can hold all sorts of committee positions if you do certain other things that don't have to do with your resume necessarily. You can be unqualified.
Give me your toughest Bernie Sanders question.
Toughest question.
What would you ask? Well, what do you think they should have asked Bernie Sanders that's tough? Or should they just be like, wow, you're such a
I'm
fresh
not saying
voice?
When have I said that they shouldn't ask him tough questions? I'm glad that they asked both candidates tough questions there.
It's just, if you call Hillary Clinton unqualified when she is on paper, by the standard of which we've judged every other, whether the qualifications of every other elected, literally in my lifetime, she's the most qualified person for president. Now,
you're only using
No, I'm not only using, no,
position.
You're reading into it. I'm using that, not just that she had these positions, that she did those positions, that she took, she had high stress level positions, right? That she succeeded in some, depending on your definition of success, right? And at the same time, she has fought Republicans her entire career. She is probably, to me, by far the best candidate to stand up to Republicans. Because I don't quite know what Bernie's going to do when confronted with a wall of resistance. The reason why I'm going to vote for Bernie is because I like the idea that somebody is going to be talking about things that we don't talk about, that it might change the entire tone of the dialogue, that it might cause not so much a revolution in votes, we're not going to get that yet, but a revolution in ideas and the manner the president leads by the tone they set, and the tone might be totally different. Well, but as far as winning political fights, she's won 50,000 more than Bernie has.
Okay, my point, I would love to have a very long debate about this, but we do have to do the rest. Okay, you're smiling at me like I don't have a point. So what I'm going to say is, when I think about qualifications, I don't simply think about whether or not she moved to New York and was their senator or whatever. What I think is, does she recognize the magnitude of the challenges that we face, and is she ready to do what we need to do to fix them? If she's not, I don't care if she's been a senator. I don't care if she's been in government for 55 years. It doesn't matter. You need to be qualified to solve the problems we're going to face.
Let me just, sorry, but then if that's the point, no.
And if I can't trust, if I can't trust what position she's going to have on any issue, in 2008 she's a pro-gun Democrat. Now she's so anti-gun. She was for TPP and the Keystone XL. Now she's against both.
That's what
I
he
have
meant.
no idea what she'll do.
Then that's what he meant when he said
we agree he did a good job.
Then why wouldn't you ask that? Why is that not a good question? For allow him to go, let me tell you why she's not qualified. He should stand up and say it. Make his goddamn point.
In hindsight, it was a fine question then.
Can I say something just really quickly about that? Is that
I'm actually very glad it was asked.
Are we out of time?
Yeah. No. What are you going to say?
Correct me if I'm wrong. How many bills did Hillary Clinton author in the Senate? 0. So her leadership has always been bad, and when she got a chance to vote for something, she voted for the Iraq War. Not only that, she argued for it. So that thing that she has experienced, yes, she She was in the Senate. All her experience, I don't think a lot of people would agree with. I think that the experience she showed was that she's willing to do the wrong thing repeatedly and side with Wall Street and her big money donors when she has power. That's what she's proven. And so if that's what you think is called qualified, then she's qualified. But you're right.
Okay, so
I was wrong. I will say I was wrong. That was actually that. You're right. Bernie should be able to answer that question in the way he did, and he did. And the fact, and I'll just say this, and I fucking resent, Ben, that you're gonna fucking vote for Bernie and come in here and argue like this. That is bullshit. That is fucking. You're voting the way I'm voting, and here you come in and say all this shit. I'm afraid of you.
Okay.
Wolf Blitzer accomplished what he needed to with this question, which was about getting the candidates to argue with each other.
To get going.
And get them upset. And to get the audience engaged and watch it.
Early.
Right. Immediately. And then when they had that break, I think both their campaign managers were like,
interesting.
Dude,
we're not like,
chill. Like, don't go so hard. Like,
yeah.
Because they start to, when you give into the anger, you start to break apart. You know, when you look at the unqualified questions, it's not a question that you can look at Hillary Clinton's life and say, that's where she paid back the money, guys. You can't find any particular thing that does that. To me, what was telling about the debate was that she said she wanted to arm and equip foreign fighters in Syria and do no-fly zones. I think the U.S. needs to get past knocking over the governments of other countries.
Yeah.
It's fucking dangerous. And there are unintended consequences, and people die. And even though those people don't live in America and they don't speak English, they're still fucking people.
Yeah.
They still have
Stop
kids.
doing it.
Yeah.
Stop doing it. That's all. We just stop getting involved in all this thing.
Go ahead.
And by the way, people will say, because we've only talked about one person, that this is a standard that's only being applied to Hillary Clinton. It is not. This is why we oppose every candidate on the Republican side. All of them, except for Donald Trump, and he can say that he's run businesses, all of them have held positions in government. I don't think they're qualified. I don't think Ted Cruz is remotely qualified. I don't think he's qualified to be in the position that he's in right now because he doesn't have the judgment to make the right choices.
He isn't qualified to eat peanuts out of your shit. That's what he's not qualified for.
I don't eat that many peanuts.
He's not qualified for anything. He's
so
an
I'm defining
ideologue.
it differently than you. I admit that. And I thought that I actually agreed with you, but I liked his point better. So I agree with Wes.
No,
actually.
I
also agree with
these guys got their positions by being ideologues.
Yeah.
On the Republican Party, on the Democratic Party, not quite so much.
I think
but it's
not.
all about consensus building and not making waves.